What's going on, everyone? I can't say this enough. This Lakers roster is ridiculous. I mean, seriously, this roster is so deep, so versatile, so much size. I think they're going to be much improved shooting. Right? You have Christian Wood, who's 38%, Gabe Vincent, he's shot 39%. You got Reeves and D'Lo, who both shoot over 40%. Torian Prince, who's 38%. Rui Hachimura, can he kind of translate what he did in the playoffs into the regular season? Jared Vanderbilt, he's been working on his 3-point shot all season. LeBron can't be worse than he was last year. AD, I don't think could be much worse than he was last year, right? You do have some guys that are question marks, right? Like Cam Reddish, he can be a little underwhelming from the 3-point range. Max Christie, does he end up stepping up and playing a role? He shot just under 42% last year, right? Like, I do think that they're going to be middle of the pack. I think they're going to be the best defensive team in the league. I think they're going to be top 5 offense. They were 7th last year, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that they're 2 or 3 points better than last year, which would put them top offense. I mean, to put in perspective, Lakers were 116 and some change. The Sacramento Kings were the number 1 offense in the league at 120 points per game, right? That's only a 4-point difference. I absolutely believe the Lakers could be 4 points better than they were last year. It is very possible they could be number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense. And with this versatility and with this depth, guys should be healthy. You should be able to keep minutes low. You should be able to manage things. But in the same breath, things are also going to be very complicated, right? You got to find minutes for all these guys. You have Christian Wood, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and probably Rui Hachimura. 6 guys. You may even be able to put Torian Prince in that because he's played around like 25 minutes a game. So you got like 7 guys that are probably expecting 25 plus minutes a game. And most of these guys play the 3 or the 4. Anthony Davis doesn't really want to play the 5. He wants to primarily play the 4, at least during the regular season. Playoffs, he's more open to it. But that creates log jams, right? And you got to find minutes for people. And you're going to have to manage egos. And you're going to have to keep everybody on the same page and everyone happy. And guys are going to have to sacrifice. And they're going to have to be willing to do X, Y, and Z for the greater good of going and win an NBA championship. I don't envy Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham is going to earn his paycheck this year without a doubt. And I think we'll have some, great, healthy competition in training camp. There's an argument legitimately for like 11, 12 of these guys to be in the starting unit. And I think that with this depth, one of the things that you can do, and I actually kind of expect this, and I think you should too, not saying it will absolutely happen, but it's something that you shouldn't be surprised. The Lakers basically spend the first half of this year, trial and error, running different sets, running different looks, running different, like what does this group look like? What do these guys look like together? How does it, and kind of whittle down who are the, 8 to 9 guys that we want on this roster that we're going to take into the playoffs. And then which guys are we okay and willing to potentially sacrifice to pull off a trade? D'Angelo Russell, they were able to get him to waive his no trade clause. And of course, that has sparked the conversation of like the Lakers are probably going to trade him. And that makes sense with his salary. He's on a very tradable salary. But you look at this roster and you can comfortably lose a couple guys, especially now that you get Christian Wood, right? Like if the right player becomes available, do you package D'Lo, Rui, and I don't know, Christie or something like that and go get that guy? And look, I'm somebody that was super stoked for Rui. I fully believe that he is very likely the LeBron James replacement once he leaves. I talked about the Lakers getting Rui Hachimura before they even went and got him. It's one of the big reasons why, I got the nickname Laker Damas, right? Like, because I was talking about, the Lakers should go get Rui, and we got him. But if the right, again, you don't just get rid of him, but if the right move comes along, you still have, you could trade D'Lo, Rui, and, like a Christie or something like that, And you'd still have Torian Prince, who is a veteran guy, who's still young, who can go get you and provide that 3-and-D. He's probably better suited in the role that they need him for than Rui is anyway, right? Rui, he's a guy that you kind of want to run your offense through more, where Prince, he can guard basically 1 through 4 and can knock down the 3 ball at 39%. You'd still have Cam Reddish, who's young and can be your project guy. You'd still have Jared Vanderbilt. LeBron's going to play the 4. AD's going to play the 4. Wood could play the 4. Like, you could lose him and not even feel the effects, especially now that you got Wood. I understand the kind of like long-term, like, well, Rui's supposed to be a piece for the future, but you could keep Prince long-term. You could keep, like, if Christian Wood works out, you keep him long-term, right? Like, you could go get other guys. Cam Reddish, if he starts becoming something, you got Maxwell Lewis, right? Like, you got pieces and players that even post LeBron still keep, right? Like, D'Lo, again, you could unload him. You still have Reeves, LeBron, as a guy that play point guard, Gabe Vincent. You could always just bring somebody up if you needed to, right? You have Shafino if you needed to in a pinch, whatever. I wouldn't be shocked as we move towards that trade deadline, you really start hearing trade rumors start ramping up. Because again, you can't have too much depth, and you're going to have to cut. You're not going to run 12 guys come playoffs. So that means basically at least 2 or 3 of these guys are going to be the odd men out come playoff time. Who is that going to be? It's probably Cam Reddish. Max Christie, I think might not see much of the floor. And then what? Maybe Jackson Hayes? And you run AD and Wood primarily as your big men, right? That's probably how it goes. But if you can make that guy that puts you over the top, I think you go do it, right? Like, I'm just using this as an example, okay? But let's say Dallas isn't working out, which I think is very likely. You look at the Western Conference, who is Dallas better than? I wouldn't be shocked if they missed the playoffs again or missed the play-in again. Like, I really would. Like, you can make an argument that every team that was in front, that finished in front of them last year, are all still better than them, right? And Kyrie, right? He doesn't have the best reputation. And if you're the Lakers and you're looking and Kyrie, like, Dallas isn't looking good, does Rob pick up the phone and be like, hey, we'll give you D'Lo and Rui, give us, Seth and Kyrie, right? Like, let's figure this out. We'll even give you one of our young guys. We'll give you a Lewis or whatever if you want, right? So you got a young guy that you could grow, develop, and build, right? Kyrie, he's not working. Who's beating that Laker team? Who's beating a team with Kyrie, LeBron, AD, Vando, Reeves, Christian Wood, Jared Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes, Torian Prince? Like, you're not beating that team in a 7-game series. Phoenix isn't beating them. Dallas ain't beating, or Denver ain't beating them. You're not beating that team if they're healthy. You're not beating Kyrie, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, plus all that depth in a 7-game series. You're just not. Like, that team would be ridiculous. The big problem has always been, and the concern is, going and getting that third star, which the Lakers have always chased. The Lakers, if they can get a third star, will go get a third star. The concern has always been going and getting that third star, and now you lack depth. But the Lakers are in a position right now where they could do both. You could go and trade some of these guys and go get that third star, and like I said, like a Kyrie Irving, and you're good. You're Gucci. Like, all is great, right? Another option, maybe, like, let's remove Kyrie from the conversation. Like I said, Kyrie was just an example of a guy that's been linked to the Lakers that would make sense for Lakers. But let's say somebody more realistic, right? Like, DeMar DeRozan is somebody I've talked about several times because Chicago's probably going to be pretty bad. DeMar DeRozan's 34 years old. He's not going to have, like, huge trade value, right? I know some people think, like, oh, he's an expiring contract. Yeah, there is value in an expiring contract, but the Bulls would have to be willing to take on long-term salary, which if they're rebuilding, they're not going to do. Right? Like, its circumstances are a real thing. But if the Bulls are terrible and they go and end up trading Zach LaVine or something like that, or DeMar says, I want out, I'm leaving in free agency, you might as well get something for me. Like, could you get an Andre Drummond? Like, if Anthony Davis is solely going to be the 4, right? Maybe you could work it out to where you get like Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, and Andre Drummond for like, I don't know, D'Lo, Rui, and Christie and Lewis or something like that, right? I don't know if the salary matches up off the top of my head, but it's probably pretty close. Because DeMar's not even making $30 million. So you're talking Rui and D'Lo is like $36 million. So you got him plus Drummond is only making like $3 or $4 million this year, something like that. So you cover those two. You just got to fill in probably like $5 million for Caruso's contract. So whatever. My point is that, like, could you do something like that makes sense? That you go get that other star. DeMar DeRozan is a 25, 5-5 guy that could play the 2 guard. You can move Reeves to the point. So you could go like Reeves, DeMar, Vando, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. You'd still have Gabe Vincent, Torian Prince. You'd still have Christian Wood. You'd still have Jackson Hayes. Again, how you're not beating that team. DeMar DeRozan has also been one of the top clutch players in the entire league the last handful of years. Not this past year, but the year prior. He was number 1 in the league in clutch. Like, so now you got a closer, right? Especially if like the Lakers are like losing close games, because that actually is a concern of mine. I think Reeves kind of the closer this year for them. But is that something that he's going to be able to do, right? Time will tell. I think he's capable, but do they struggle a little bit closing games? And it's like, oh, go get DeMar DeRozan. Again, I'm just using these guys as an example. But one, I absolutely think that there are going to be several stars that are disgruntled. Like even a Dame, right? Like Dame would be a little pricey, so Dame might not be as realistic. But, like I wouldn't be shocked if there are some of these stars that are on these other teams that aren't doing too good that go, I could go to the Lakers. The Lakers could trade for me. Not only could they trade for me, they could trade for me and still have a contending team that's deep. And me going there all but almost guarantees a championship, right? Like, especially some of these like older stars, right? These guys that haven't ever won, like DeMar, who hasn't won a championship. Like, it would make sense that he's like, hey, let me go get this title. Let me go get this ring real quick, right? Like, I look at this and I'm just like, this roster is built perfectly for a trade. And Rob Pelinka, if he finds the right deal and the right move, he's going to make it happen. As long as you keep the core guys intact, you're fine. Right? Austin Reeves, Vando, Wood, Hayes, LeBron, AD, Reddish, Gabe Vincent. Like, you got the core guys that you're going to need this season. Right? And you kind of figure out who are you willing to depart with, right? And again, like, yes, a lot of the newer signings, Christian Wood, Hayes, Reddish, they could all leave after this year. But you know what the Lakers could, especially if you get like a DeMar DeRozan, not only would you move off of Rui's money, but DeMar DeRozan would be an expiring contract. He's not going to get $30 million a year. He's going to be 35. So he's probably $18 million a year maybe. So he basically gets D'Lo's money, which you moved off of. LeBron James's contract can fall off. You could easily re-sign everybody. And if the Lakers win the NBA championship, you don't think LeBron is going to do whatever it takes to go and win his number 6? Of course he will. I'm not saying he's going to play for like a vet minimum or anything, but if it costs him instead of him taking $50 million a year, if it requires him to take like $25 or $30 million a year, oh, I absolutely think he would. And I know some people look at it and go, oh, LeBron said 8 years ago that he would never take a discount again. He probably didn't even think he was going to still be in the league at this point, right? Things change, right? And times are changing, right? Like, LeBron is in a completely different place in his career, a completely different place in his life. He doesn't need the money. He could play for free next year, and it wouldn't affect him at all. It's how much money he's got, right? Like, he's fine. Again, I'm not saying he's going to play for free or the vet minimum. But again, if he says, instead of 50 million, give me 30 million and let's re-sign Wood and Hayes and Reddish so we keep this deep team intact, go get another piece or two, and let's go run this back and go win number 6. Of course he will. You kidding me? Like, and especially if the Lakers could get, it would be nicer though if, like, rather than like a DeMar, they could get somebody like a younger star, right? Like, I would love if they could get like a Zach LaVine or something, right? But I don't know. I mean, obviously fit and willingness and stuff like that, it goes into it. But I don't know. I look at this roster and I'm just like, this roster just looks built for a trade. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I'm not saying book it, lock it in, it's going to happen. But I'm saying don't be shocked at all if come trade deadline, the Lakers have pulled off a trade for a couple pieces to go and get that third star. It's a Laker thing to do. It's something the Lakers have been trying to do for years now. And the biggest problem is the concern of depth. They wouldn't have that. You can go get most of the stars in the league and still maintain all of your depth. That's huge. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. How do you feel? Do you feel the same way? Do you think the same way? How do you feel? Let me know down in the comments.